Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a question, it's one of those things that seems totally backwards, but hey, there's a multi-billion-dollar industry built on it.
All right, so think about it. Why on earth do we spend billions of dollars to be terrified? I'm talking horror movies, haunted houses, those insane roller coasters. It makes zero logical sense. So what is actually happening in our brains?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this paradox, we got to start with a really fundamental idea. Your brain, it's not just some abstract computer for your thoughts. It's a real physical thing. And just like anything physical, it has breaking points.
And I mean really physical. Your brain is what's called a viscoelastic material. Think of it like a very soft gel. This means it can actually bend and stretch when it's under stress, which is good. But it can only go so far before something, gives way.
This is where it gets super interesting. Your brain has this built-in safety margin. If it experiences strain up to about, say, 5 or 10%, it's elastic. It can handle it, it bounces right back, no problem. But push it past 20%, you hit what's called the yielding point. And that means you're risking permanent physical damage. And understanding this safe zone, that's the first major clue to solving our mystery.
And that brings us to the second piece of the puzzle, context. It's everything. When you're facing a real, unpredictable danger, your brain just screams survival. It's all about escape. But when you're sitting in a movie theater, your brain's logic center, the prefrontal cortex, sends a completely different message. It says, hey, relax, you're safe. This isn't real. And that one little thought, it's like a switch flips. Suddenly that flood of chemicals, the adrenaline, the dopamine, it's not panic anymore. It's fun.
So how do we tie these two ideas, the physical limits and the context, together? Well, that's where a new theory comes in. It's called the brain kinematics model, or BKM for short. And it gives us this really powerful way to understand why, safe fear actually feels so good.
So the BKM asks us to shift our thinking. Don't just think of fear as some abstract emotion. Instead, picture it as a real physical stress, something that creates actual weight or pressure on your neural networks. And your brain's main job then is to constantly manage that stress to keep itself inside that safe, elastic zone we were just talking about.
And that is the secret behind horror movies and roller coasters. They're basically a safe space for your brain to take on a big, intense strain package and then immediately let it go. It's that cycle, that build-up, and then that quick, safe release. That feels so good. It's almost like a workout for your brain's emotional systems.
And what's really cool is that this model isn't just about modern entertainment. Nope. It also gives us a totally new way to look at the ancient monsters that have been part of our myths and stories for, forever.
I mean, check this out. It seems like different cultures around the world created monsters that are basically personifications of different kinds of strain. So you have Dracula, right? He's all about a very personal, parasitic kind of strain. But then you look at a figure like Zahak from Persian myth, a tyrant who fed on human brains. And that represents a much bigger societal strain, like the fear of a terrible ruler. It's like every monster is a tool for us to process a very specific type of fear.
Okay, so the BKM explains movies and myths, but it goes even deeper. It's actually powerful enough to give us a potential explanation for some of the most extreme human behaviors connected to fear and pain.
And this is where the theory gets wow. From the BKM point of view, sadism and masochism aren't really opposites at all. They're seen as two sides of the same coin. Two different and, pretty disordered strategies for dealing with intense emotional strain. Sadism is basically trying to expel your own internal strain by forcing it onto someone else. And masochism, it's about absorbing external strain in a controlled way, trying to use it to rebalance what's going on inside.
So in a way, both are these kind of warped attempts to manage an overwhelming amount of internal stress. It's all about keeping the brain from crossing that dangerous yielding point we talked about earlier, to stop it from breaking. They're just very extreme ways of trying to stay in that safe zone.
All right, for our final piece of the puzzle, we need to go somewhere we all go every single night. Deep into our subconscious. We're talking about our dreams.
Have you ever wondered why so many of our dreams are, negative or even downright terrifying? I mean, if dreams are just random noise, why is so much of that noise about fear and anxiety? Well, the answer is all about what your brain is up to when you're asleep.
Okay, so the biology here basically creates the perfect storm for scary dreams. During REM sleep, your amygdala, that's the brain's fear center, it's going wild. It's super active. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles logic and reason, it's pretty much offline. So your brain uses this time to work through the heaviest emotional baggage from your day, and that's usually the negative stuff.
And it all points to this incredible idea. Nightmares are not a bug. They're a feature. Think about it. They're the brain's own private virtual reality, a safe space where it can process and get rid of the most intense strain packages from your day. It's literally a nightly maintenance cycle designed to reset you and keep you balanced for whatever comes next.
So, we've looked at horror movies, ancient monsters, even our own nightmares. What's the big takeaway here? What does all of this really mean?
It means we need to completely reframe how we think about fear. It's not just a bad feeling to be avoided. Whether we're in a movie theater or fast asleep, fear is one of the brain's most powerful tools. It's how it manages stress, how it tests its own limits in a safe way, and ultimately how it keeps its own delicate structure from literally breaking.
So, if fear is really the brain's maintenance cycle, it leaves you with a pretty interesting question, doesn't it? What is your subconscious trying to fix tonight? That's definitely something to sleep on. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.